So recently, I went on the record stating that the Chase Sapphire Preferred is really not that great of a card. But I guess there was one saving grace that I only mentioned briefly, and it really does set Chase cards apart from everybody else. That's right, we're talking about none other than Chase Ultimate Reward Points and transferring out to travel partners, and namely, Hyatt Hotels. Because Chase Ultimate Reward Points are technically the only points in the entire credit card world that can be transferred to Hyatt Hotels, aka the saving grace. But I guess let me explain why that's so powerful. That's right, transferring to Hyatt Hotels could be the most lucrative way to actually use your Ultimate Reward Points, hands down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break this video down into 3 parts. Number 1, we're going to be talking about Hyatt Hotels and how they exactly differ from other hotel chains, as well as we're going to be talking about how to actually get Chase Ultimate Reward Points, and then subsequently how to transfer those Chase Ultimate Reward Points to Hyatt, so this way you can get that high value points per value ratios. Number 2, we're going to talk about the most effective ways to maximize the amount of value you're getting with all of your Hyatt points, as well as some tips and tricks and even secrets on how to actually squeeze a little bit more value from all of your Hyatt points. And actually a little bit later, I have a specific example on how you could stay at one particular Hyatt hotel completely for free for a full month. And then thirdly, we're going to be talking about my specific experience with Hyatt Hotels, as well as a tour of the room I stayed in just recently in Raleigh, North Carolina, which by the way was $65 for a $324 room, but more on that in a second. And since I'm not supposed to hate this card today, I'm just going to gently place it right over here. So starting off first, Hyatt Hotels were founded in the 1950s as a means to kind of create a more luxury experience around airports, which is also why I think anytime you go to a Hyatt hotel, they typically have a lot more amenities than that of your typical Hilton or Marriott. What with having pots and pans and cutlery and just a lot of different things that you wouldn't normally see. And from the 1950s to about 2023, they've been able to erect about 1,200 total locations worldwide, which a little bit of math tells us that it's about 15 hotels opened every single year. And while they don't have as many locations as Hilton with about 7,000 properties, they do have some unique selling points, but more on that in a second. And secondly, there's only really about 2 ways to actually gain access to Hyatt points. One being actually getting a World of Hyatt credit cards where you can get sign-up bonuses and earn points every time you use that credit card. Secondly, which is the most powerful, is actually taking all of your Chase Ultimate Reward points that you earn throughout the years and then transfer those points over to Hyatt at a 1-to-1 ratio. The way to do this is actually pretty simple. To just go into your Chase Ultimate Rewards account, click the little widget down there that actually says Transfer Partners, and you can see there's a number of different transfer partners from airlines to hotels. So go to hotels, go to Hyatt, and then once you're there, you can transfer in increments of 1,000 points. So in my case, I transferred 8,000 points just to get started, and there was a hotel that was about 6,500 points, but I'll talk about that also in just a second. And then honestly, once you transfer those points, it's pretty much automatically already put into your Hyatt account, so this way you can start booking right away. Which now brings me to the middle part of this video, number 2, which is actually how to redeem these points for max value. So the first thing to know when talking about points is actually the tier list or the categories that the Hyatt hotels are actually categorized in, which is pretty much just telling you how high class or how low class the hotel actually is. And you can see right here by the points guide just a standard list of 5,000 points per night for a standard room all the way up to 40,000 points per night, which typically those points are worth about 1 cent per point, you know, so 5,000 points is $50, 40,000 points is $400. But let me tell you and let me show you how to actually get way more value. Take a look at this stay right here that I literally just did for New Year's. This is called the Hyatt House in North Hills, which is just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. You can see right here, if I book out pretty much any date for this hotel specifically, it's just about 6,500 points for a $324 hotel, which if you just do some quick math, that's essentially 4.9 or 5 cents per point worth of value ratio, which if we're just comparing it to regular Chase Ultimate Reward points, if you just book this for travel, typically those points are worth at most 1.25 cents per point with the value ratio. So that same 6,500 points is really just about $80 worth of value. But in this case, we're using 6,500 points to get $320 worth of value, which is a heck of a lot more. Now, this is not the only instance. Now, take a look right here. I did some research out in Nashville, Tennessee, and you could see that most of these nights, if not all of them, are at least 2 to about 4 cents per point worth of value ratio, which is still much higher than any other hotel brands out there. Even if we take a stroll over to California, forget it. We're even getting higher points per value ratio there as well. So this is the most crazy. In California, look at this right in Big Sur. It's a category 8 hotel. That's $2,000 every single night, but you could book it right here for just 40,000 Hyatt points or $400 in value, which is pretty close to 5 cents per point. And you can imagine you're probably getting good spa services, probably for free, probably some breakfast and dinner for free, a lot of different things for free, so that even adds to the cent per value ratio. But where the points really shine is if you go abroad. Take a look right here. If you look at some of these Hyatts in Shanghai, or even some of them in Italy, I'm getting upwards to 20 cents per point, or even 40 cents per point worth of value ratio, which doesn't even make sense. Which technically, if we just do some quick math, if you have 100,000 Chase reward points and you convert them to Hyatt points, at 40 cents per point, that's technically like $4 million worth of hotel stays. Now, some people criticize that the Hyatt hotels are typically just super inflated in prices, so it makes it seem like the cents per value is actually way higher, which may be true, and honestly, I agree, especially for the ones abroad. But then again, if you just look right here, if I go through the Hilton app, I could see very comparable hotels, still in the $200 to $300 range, that actually compare to the Hyatt hotels in the same area for the same price. So in that case, if I just try to use Hilton points for a $300 Hilton stay, that's going to run me about 60,000 Hilton Honors points, because they're typically worth about half a cent per point. Whereas that same Hyatt hotel, which is pretty much on the same level as that Hilton as far as, you know, luxury and all the amenities that you get, you pretty much end up using 5,000 to 6,000 Hyatt points for that same stay, which is pretty much 10x the amount of value you're going to be getting as opposed to Hilton points. Now, a couple of tips and tricks, and actually a little bit of secrets to gain a little more value from all of your Hyatt points. I got this trick from my friend CalBNG, so go check out his channel. He's a die-hard Hyatt fan, and honestly, we've been combating one another because I thought Hilton was best, but now I'm starting to turn a little bit and go with Hyatt. He always tells me when you go to book a Hyatt, check in the summer months, because typically in the summer months, you can actually get a higher point per value ratio because the hotel itself inflates in value, but the points actually never change. You can see some examples right here where the same hotel was even $300 in January and now $500 in July, which some people might say that's overinflated, but I just think that just makes sense. I mean, all hotels, when there's high traffic, are going to be raising their prices, right? So if you're a person that's going to be vacationing in summer anyway, and if the points stay the same, you're getting extra value, right? You would be spending that extra inflated value anyway, right? And some hotel chains will actually black out certain dates that you can't even book with points, etc., when it's really popular, like maybe New Year's Eve, you know, maybe during Christmas time, etc. But with Hyatt hotels, there are no blackout dates, and you could book it as long as one is available. Which for you guys who are kind of procrastinators, then this is for you. Now, he also mentions that when you actually book for multiple people, like maybe you go to the max, which is 5 people you're booking for, you can sometimes actually get even better rates because Hyatt knows, oh, you're bringing a ton more people. Maybe you're going to be able to book extra rooms. So it's funny, you would necessarily think that the January hotels would be the off-peak times, but actually the on-peak times, the summertime, ends up giving you way more value. Upon doing a little extra research, I found the points guy had a great point about Vegas hotels. Now, apparently when you search through Las Vegas, if you go to actually choose not to pay your full bill for your hotel room in all points, if you do half cash and half points, you actually can get a little extra value out of this. So even look at the Bellagio. This is a hotel that's in the $200 range, and if you pay with points, it says you have to pay about 10,500 points, or about $105 worth of value, I would call it, plus another $100, which maybe after taxes adds up to be about another, you know, maybe total $230, maybe $240. But if you look right here, if I just book with only cash, it's about $260, and then with taxes, maybe $280 or $90. So right there, you're kind of creating a wedge, a little gap of between $30 and maybe $50 worth of added value. Now, I did check around, and I didn't see this instance anywhere else other than Vegas, so let me know in the comments below if you've seen other better deals. Another little tip, if you have the time, really go through a lot of different Hyatt hotels to see the value ratio. You can see some of them are a lot higher than others. Sometimes the higher category hotels give you a lot more points, and then make sure to book hotels that actually give you extra amenities on top of it. Like I mentioned earlier, some places are giving you free dining, free spa services, and daily breakfast for two, which is pretty much what I just did in this hotel that I just stayed in. I got complimentary breakfast for me and my fiance. Typically, this breakfast would have been about maybe $20 to $30, depending on where you got it. So for a hotel that only technically costed me $65 is really just a net maybe $30 hotel for the whole night. Even if you find some that have exclusive lounge access, or even just, you know, meeting lounges where you can actually plug in your phone, hang out, or even just pool tables, so this way you can beat your friends in pool and charge them money for every time you win. Which one day, I'm issuing the challenge right now, I will stay in a Hyatt hotel with CalBNG, and I will beat them in pool for about $20. The cue ball is in your court, son. Or table, I guess. Along with just paying with points for your hotel, you could actually upgrade your rooms for points as well. It's not necessarily tied to a status like maybe Amex or Marriott. And the points guy put it together, I'm reading with you, kind of the room upgrade awards, which is like the Regency Club or the Grand Club, which is kind of like the highest tier Hyatts out there. You could upgrade your room for just 3,000 points per night. Seems like pretty good value. I mean, for just $30, 3,000 points, you could possibly get complimentary champagne, a better view, sometimes in-room dining, a lot of different amenities. But honestly, personally, for me, I'm not, too crazy about that. I'd rather stay a lot longer, use those 3,000 points towards another stay, than stay shorter but get a few extra amenities. I'm staying for a long time, not a good time. But if you too want a good time, you could always hit that like, subscribe button, just hang out for a while. Just for doing that, here's a picture of me in my Hyatt hotel. Well, one caveat to that is that the premium or the suite rooms are actually a lot higher and overinflated prices than that of just a standard room. So sometimes it actually may be cheaper to book a standard room and then upgrade with points, and it'll actually end up being cheaper than just booking directly to that premium suite. Now, in just a second, I'm going to show you my tour of the room that I actually stayed in, but first, the last thing I want to talk about is statuses within the Hyatt universe. Now, there are technically 4 tiers to elite statuses within the Hyatt universe. One being member, which is just you sign up and that's it. Number 2 is Discoverist, which is just staying for 10 nights or earning 25,000 base points with your Hyatt cards, or by hosting 3 meetings or events. Number 3 is Explorist, which is 30 nights or 50,000 points or 10 meetings. And then Globalist, which is 60 nights, 100,000 points, and 20 meetings. Which begs the question, what constitutes a meeting? How could I book this, and is it free? I'm just gonna get me and maybe a friend, and we're just gonna go sit in there, and that's our meeting. We're gonna book that, yeah, we're having a meeting. And we'll just do 20 of those in 20 days, and boom, we got the high elite status. Have you guys looked into this? I haven't. Is that possible? Which also begs the question, can I just transfer my Chase Local reward points and it count towards Hyatt elite statuses? Well, the answer is no. Unfortunately, it states base points is just earned through the card or just by booking hotels, etc. Which, speaking of, the World of Hyatt credit card is actually pretty powerful. For a $95 annual fee credit card, you're getting a bunch of bonus multipliers, but one of the most important ones is you're getting a free night certificate award every single year on the anniversary when the card was open. Which, I mean, we could already see if we just use a free night at the hotel I stayed in, that's an extra $300 in value every single year, so that's pretty much $200 profit with only using that card for the free night certificate, and that's it. You can tell I've pretty much changed to a Hyatt fanatic. So this is just a lot, but pretty much there's a lot of different status bonuses that you're going to get with each tier. I'll make a whole separate video on it, but essentially Globalist is going to be giving you an extra 30% boost on all of your points. You also get an automatic complimentary suite upgrade, so no matter what you do, as long as it's 48-hour availability and you ask for it, you're going to be able to upgrade that room, as long as you make a call to that specific hotel and you ask for a room upgrade. Late checkout, which you guys know is one of my most favorite things. You're going to be able to get a late checkout as long as you ask up to 4 p.m. And typically with Hyatt hotels, you can actually get in a lot earlier than it states. Like maybe it's check-in 3 p.m., but if you call them and get the room ready, sometimes you can get in there as early as, 8, 9, 10 a.m. Which is pretty much 30 hours for just that one night stay, which is, that's awesome. And if the hotel permits, you're getting evening hors d'oeuvres for free, continental breakfast, you're getting access to the club lounge, which honestly is a lot of different perks, and you could just extrapolate the amount of value that you're going to be getting just by being a globalist. Okay, so we figured out what the Hyatt actually is, how to redeem the points, how to get them for max value, everything that you need to know to get these Hyatt hotels. So now come with me, let's go inside and let's see what exactly you can get for a $65 night for a $300 hotel. Oh, nice to see you in here, in my room, with me. Let's take a look at this nice Hyatt House tour right now. Now, I told you in the video that this was a $65 hotel that technically is $325 to stay every single night. I did the math. If you want to stay here for a full month, you could technically do it with just 200,000 Hyatt points or 200,000 Chase points. So that's the Chase Sapphire Preferred and Chasing Business. But if you come in here, you can see it's very interesting. I'm comparing it to Hilton. Hilton's a little bit more simple in their design. I mean, they don't have, they have a whole stove here. They have a microwave. You can pop it right out like that. It looks nice. Pots and pans and wedding bands. You also have a bunch of cutlery down here. Basically everything you would need to live a full functioning life. Basically an apartment, even a dishwasher. So my first thought was, wow, this is something you could really live in. If you really wanted to, with 500 square feet. But my first question was, how are they making money? And I'm like, I know they have 10x less properties, but how are they offering all these different things? Like, come over here. I'll show you a couple of other things. This nice, gigantic, hardy desk here that you can do some working. Whatever this is, I don't know, maybe put the apples in there. I'm not sure. A whole seated area. I believe this comes out to a full couch if you wanted to. You pull this down. And you have all little outlets and whatnot if you want to, charge your phones and whatnot. I don't even know why we even need this. Just don't even have this at all. That's the time and money. We have a nice swivel TV if you want to bring it to the living room area as opposed to the bed area. So that's nice, but that's also extra cost. If we come along here, the bathroom is very nice, very spacious. As you can see, I'm a pretty big guy. I'm about 7'5", so you can see. I'm kidding. But very nice, open concept, huge shower that we didn't get to use. Matter of fact, let's actually check the water pressure. So now we are in the shower, and let's throw it on. Oh my God, I'm getting drenched. So it's very good water pressure, I will say. I don't know if you're hearing an echo, but I would say this is some of the best water pressure you can actually get. If you're disgusting and you're dirty, Hyatt is the place to go. So now we have to trapeze our way out of here. And that's the Hyatt House. And I guess the last thing that I really wanted to mention about the Hyatt was actually the entrance. So it really was similar to if you've ever been to a true Hilton, the TRU. These typically have a much nicer kind of feel when you first walk in, kind of like a community feel. They have pool tables, they have the breakfast, they have, you know, little areas for seating and charging stuff, whatnot. So if you have a lot of friends, you can just hang out for the night. I really love that about the True Hilton Hotel, but I'm finding that the Hyatt House, I don't know if they're all like this, but this one especially had that feel, and for that, I really enjoy it. And really another thing I wanted to mention was that the bed is super comfortable. It is a king bed. And one thing I did notice were the pillows were a lot harder than some of the other hotels that we've been to. I mean, this is one that you could really beat up, and it's going to give you, you know, a good night rest. Another thing I wanted to point out, which I thought was very odd, was this little thing right over here. Why do we need this? What is the purpose to sit right here, and we have an outlet right behind it? What is the purpose to sit here? I'm sorry to tell you, if anybody works at Hyatt, check the balance sheet. Are we losing money here or what? How much money are we losing by building these intense structures, the pivot TV, the giant, you know, bed, and this random thing? You don't need this. You don't need this at all. And let's take a look at the view outside while we're here. Look at what kind of view we got for a $300 room. Beautiful. Kindness is cool. And that's the way I like to live my life, with kindness. Some of the amenities that actually come with this hotel stay are actually daily breakfast, continental breakfast in the mornings until about 11 a.m. Pretty good stuff. They had bacon and pancakes and stuff like that. So if you're a person staying at least a week, you could easily get about $30 worth of value every single day for you and your whole family. So you're kind of recouping your costs right there. Another thing too is that if you're actually a person that's on business trips, like I know a lot of people in the community like to actually, you know, do a lot of business while they go away, this is definitely a much better place than a Hilton, I would say, because of just the added desk area. And honestly, the amount of outlets is insane. So if you have computers, iPads, iPhones, it's really a no-brainer to kind of book one of these places, especially if it's super cost effective or actually paid for by your employer. Oh my God.
Wait, is that real?
Yes.
Oh God.
I mean, forget it. If you just have, you know, 2.4 million Chase points every single year, you can live in this hotel completely for free. And that means housekeeping, daily breakfast, and a lot more amenities, honestly. Thank you so much for just watching this tour of my room and overall just my general experience with Hyatt hotels. But for now, I'm gonna have to unfortunately pass it back off to Anthony for the outro, and you're gonna hear another little special thing, but until next time. Oh my God, you guys are here. I thought you were still in the tour. Okay. Okay, so if you like this video, like and subscribe, of course. And if you want to see a breakdown on why I said that Chase Sapphire Preferred is really not that great of a card and really only the sign-up bonus and the Hyatt points are worth it, check out this video on the left-hand side of your screen.